Yes, hay muchos cubanos. Yes, cubanos. Se le ve la cara.
You hear me good? Bienvenidos a La Habana, Cuba. Welcome to Havana, Cuba. Territorio libre de América. We're leaving San Francisco cruise ship terminal for a tour called whatever they named it in the boat.
Right.
A day in Havana, covering different important sites. Covering, my wife is calling me again. I better answer, or I may be in hot water when I get home. Excuse me. Sí, dígame. Office. Organizers. Where was I? Oh, the tour called A Day in Havana, covering different important sites of the city, like the Christ of the City statue, right hand side on the other side of the natural canal leading to the harbor. Che Guevara's house in the city. Does everybody know who Che Guevara was? The guerrilla man who came from Argentina. He was a doctor, fought together with Fidel Castro during the Revolutionary War here. Became a hero, an icon. And the biggest of all the fortresses, where we may be buying something that you all want. Smoking is not allowed. Yes, cigars. We're not that paranoid yet about smoking in this nation. And it's socially acceptable that people walk around along the streets with a bottle of rum, with a bottle of beer. Nobody cares. We're good now. After my uncles, Fidel and Raul, we're good. Now we have a new president. Let's see what happens, but so far so good. His name is Miguel Mario Diaz-Canel. Anyway, feel free to ask whatever you wish about my country, about my culture, about my people. I'm very proud of being Cuban. I've been living here 61 years, and I hope I can live way more than that. And I'm not buying one of those fishing boats, because my cousin Obama we're not supposed to talk about religion or politics in the tours, but Obama, you know, he was beloved in Cuba, and a week before he left the White House, he signed a law eliminating the dry feed and wet feed policy. Are you familiar with that law? Does everybody know what the wet feed and dry feed policy is all about? There was a time when we left illegally on rafts, and if we made it to the States and stepped on American land, we had the right to stay and everything. Not anymore. That law has been eliminated. And the current administration. No. Let's change the subject. No, it's okay. This is a beautiful drive in the city. Look at this. This is so important. This is so much part of the lives of the Cubans who live in Havana City, right? Because this wall is part of the history and it's part of the traditions of the Habaneros. How do we call this drive, this wall here? Malecon. Careful with the pronunciation of the word, or you might be saying, and it's a big offense here, right? If you call a guy that way. We don't have guns, even if I had 1 million cooks. By the way, did everybody change money?
Yes.
No? Okay, good. Even if I had 1 million cooks, I'm not able to find a gun to buy, which is good. We kill each other though, but using Ross machetes. It's more painful, you know, it takes longer to die.
Y'all fight like men.
No, seriously, Cuba is probably one of the safest countries in the world. Built soon after the Ilian Gonzalez case. Are you familiar with Ilian Gonzalez? 24/7 on TV. I was demonstrating along the Malecon Drive. Bring back Ilian. Bring back Ilian. Until finally Janet Reno, my cousin, failed in favor of the Cuban father. And the FBI, you remember the FBI breaking into that house in Miami and grabbing the boy by force and bringing it back to Cuba? That was something. So this plaza was built soon after the Ilian Gonzalez case, and it is located right in front of your American embassy. Aren't you proud of taking a look at your flag there? Raised by John Kerry, my cousin. Huh? We used to come here to ask for entry visas into the States. Not anymore. Not after the Sonic attack that nobody buys here. We used to come here to ask for entries. Now we have to travel to a third nation to apply for a visa to get into the States. It's complicated, you know, politics is always complicated. And it's better not to talk about that, but that's the place, okay? That's your embassy in Havana. So please don't lose your passports, because the personnel after the alleged Sonic attack was reduced to less than half. So it will take you months for a new passport to be issued. So keep safe your passports. This area, this landscape here, this skyline here is what we Cubans know, what we Cubans acknowledge as the Havana from the 50s, okay? Basically built with American investments in terms of apartment buildings, hotels that once had casinos. Gambling was prohibited January 1st, 1959. Sports facility, shops, high rises. So this is my idea of modern. I don't know anything more modern than this, right? And it's the same with all my colleagues and my fellow countrymen. And this section, this hood is called Vedado. Vedado. It's a very nice residential area. For the first time now, Cubans since 2007 are allowed to sell and buy properties if they own them. For the first time in our lives, Cubans can run more than 200 jobs privately and legally. So this is changing. For the first time in my life, I can have a cell phone line under my name. We may not have food for the next day or clothes to wear, but we all have a cell phone. Yeah, it's the same. It's an international problem, right? So many things are happening in this nation, and we are happy. We're happy. We would like to change all the things as quick as possible. What other things we would like to change? The fact that our salaries are still very low, right? We would like more access to internet. We would like more freedom and more possibilities of traveling abroad. But when traveling abroad is not Cuba, the difficulty is to get the entry visa. Even if I want to go to Haiti, I need an entry visa and I have to apply for the visa in the Haitian embassy in Havana. So it's not easy. Shopping malls where we buy extra food, because food is ration here. Part of the food is ration. The other food, the extra food that we buy to compensate for the basic staples, we buy them at the same prices of food like in Europe. For example, a liter of milk costs me, a liter of cow milk, not fresh, costs me 2.85 cook. You can almost buy a gallon with that amount of money, can't you? No? Yes? So, the prices don't go with the low salaries. That's one thing we would like to change. Cubans, in every case, in every instance, families, individuals here need other sources of making extra money to compensate for that. Um, Healthcare is free for Cubans, but in the case of foreigners, you pay for that. So you're kindly requested to sit down, my friend. Thank you. Thank you. I know you're excited and it makes me happy, but you know, it's the safety rule. Thank you. We continue driving you through Vedado area, and well, I've been telling you what things we would like to change, what other things we would like to improve, and what things we would never like to lose here. But everyone is happy, you know, Cubans are happy by nature, content with the very little they have, and that's what it is, how it is. The street pattern in Vedado, where we are, is different from the one in Old Havana. Old Havana is the area right across your cruise ship terminal, where everything is compact. In Old Havana, one building after the other, no greenery, no wide avenues. In Vedado, look at this. There's a lot of space between one building and another, lots of trees, wide avenues. And in Cuba, at the moment, the collapse of the Soviet Union, the new rules have created disparities. But there was a time when we were all the same, during the Russian era, right? But look at the houses of the Cubans that were rich before 1959. Why did most of these families decide to leave the island? Because the first thing Fidel Castro did was to pass laws in favor of the poor people and somehow affecting the wealthy people in Cuba. So these families were mad at the revolution and they decided to flee the island. If the whole family fled, government took over the property, all right, and turned them into what they are today: embassies, consulates, representation of foreign firms, government offices, schools, daycares. If just one person from the family remained on the property, that's been respected. That's where the British ambassador resides here. And that's one of the requirements of the American government to fully normalize the relations between Cuba and US. I don't think it will ever happen. The compensation of all those people, of all those rich people who were affected by the former revolutionary laws. We are proceeding to a very important place in Cuba, where 3 popes, my cousins Benedict, Francisco, and Jean Paul, delivered their closing religious services in Cuba, where Obama was welcomed by Raúl Castro in one of those buildings, where nearly 1 million people marched past the statue of our national hero, Jose Marti, my great-grandfather, last May Day. Okay? I'm talking about Revolution Square. Maybe you have seen that on TV. Maybe, I don't know. I don't think you get much about Cuba on your TV channels, don't you? HBO? Yeah. No? No HBO? Discovery? I like HBO on Fridays evenings. So let's take a look, and you're very welcome to take pictures at Revolution Square, most important political and administrative site in Cuba since January 1st, 1959, where the most important government buildings are, at the moment, nice wire silhouette sculptures on the facades of the buildings, and opportunity for shooting at your old vintage American cars. That for sure will be there. Okay? That's what we're doing there. Next, we're planning to be there only 15 minutes, and after that we'll continue with the whole tour. Remember, this is This bus got a sign in front with the number 25. Don't get lost. If you get lost, then I can no longer feel responsible for you. Understand? And this is a big group. So please don't get lost. And let's stick together like a big family, whether we like each other or not. Anyway, you're in the same boat. How many passengers in this boat here? How many? 7,000? That's a most. And are the cabins good? Yeah? Food? Booze included? No? Disappointing. But the food is good, right? Nice. Now, Hector is driving very slowly so that you can see all the buildings around this big area here, Revolution Square. National Theater, left-hand side, on the driver's side, with its glass facade, late 40s, beginning of the 50s. Next, with the sculpture of Che Guevara on its facade, are Secret Services offices called Ministry of the Interior. It equals your CIA or KGB or MI5, MI6, this building here. People don't mind if you have their picture taken here, but officials, yes, officials wearing uniforms, they do mind that, so don't do that, please. This is the Ministry of the Interior. The forces in charge of preserving the lives of the leaders of the revolution and the interests of the regime. Next. Up next, on the driver's side, Ministry of Informatics on this side, and Communication, and it's what another wire sculpture or silhouette sculpture on its facade of a hero in Cuba, Camilo. Camilo Cienfuegos was a commander of the revolution that disappeared at the very beginning of the revolutionary process in an internal flight. It's like it's a sort of enigma. What happened to Camilo? Well, we think it was a train crash accident, but he was a beloved guy by the people and by the army, and he was from Havana. Behind it, the biggest public library of Cuba, where the Jesus Christ poster was placed when the Pope had their closing religious services here. Jose Marti National Library, the high rise, Revolutionary Armed Forces, the monument to honor the biggest, most important of all the Cubans ever, Jose Marti. And behind the tower of that monument, you can see a building, can you? In semicircular shape. That's the most important of them all. That's where Obama walked in and was welcomed by Raúl Castro. That's the Council of Ministers, Council of the State, and Political Bureau of the Communist Party of Cuba, the only one party still operating.
here we are at Revolutionary Square. It's our first stop here in Havana today of our tour of many different locations that we will be going to. Maybe I'll try to hit you up with guys with some facts and different things of what this means to the Cuban people. I know it was a pretty big deal to those that I was traveling with that are Cuban, and wanted to make sure that they tell their abuela that they were able to make it to Revolutionary Square. So let's just stick with us and we'll see where else that we can get ourselves into and where we can get at today in Havana. So keep up posted, guys.
You can sit. Yeah. Sit in there if you like. You drive for picture. You drive for picture.